Alrighty, let's start today off with your AUD. It's going to be a short video, so I won't go in too much depth, but let's just explain the potentials of the market. Okay, starting with our sell and buy zones and your AUD. My sell zone is an engulfing sell meets an engulfing sell, and my buy is a sell that failed. Price came back, created this first engulfing buy, then we have the second engulfing buy. Now what's special about this buy zone is it has two key levels. So you have this upper one that both the first and the second engulfing buy is respected, but we also have this lower key level down here that was a former or a previous resistance that got broken. Okay, so two key levels. Current price is up here. Either we wait for it to test our sell zone or buy zone. If it comes into our sell zone and respects it, then we can look for a sell. Okay, but if it decides to shoot up and continue up, then we can wait for the zone to break, wait for it to retrace back, and look for a buy setup instead. Okay, so this goes for all the zones that I always mark. If it does not respect it, then we wait and look for the opposite directions. All right, if it respects, then we can catch a buy and a sell from our key levels. But if it doesn't, we wait it out. Okay, so what do? You monitor, since these are these are H4 zones, monitor M5 or M15 for your entries. Okay, so you don't have to complicate it by checking H1, M30, just pair it with M15 first. If you can't find anything in M15, then go on to M5, okay, to find your setups. Next, Euro USD, also a very popular pair with you guys. So sell zone up top and my buy zone down below. Now my sell zone is an engulfing buy that failed. Price came back, closed within, created the first engulfing sell. Then we have the second engulfing sell over here. Okay, so it's an A, B, C complete, or the HLZ zone, I usually call it, right? HLZ zone or a high liquidity zone. For my buy zone, we have an engulfing sell that failed, and price came back down, closed within, and created its first engulfing buy. So current price is close to the sell zone, so we can either just monitor if it's going to come up into our sell zone to sell down, respect it and sell down, or break and continue up. Either way, we can use the key levels for both. Okay, for both, but you just have to time it correctly. What does that mean? You wait for H4 to see if it respects our zone. If it does, then we can try to look for a setup to sell down. But if it doesn't, and it decides to close above the zone, then either you look for the next sell zone or wait for the price to retrace back into our key level for a potential buy setup that we can find for a buy back up. Oops. Now, vice versa, same thing with the sell zone. If it comes down into a sell zone and respects it, then potentially we can catch a buy zone. If it comes down into our buy zone and respects it, then potentially we can look for a buy back up. But if it breaks down low, then we look for the next buy zone, or we wait for the price to retrace back into our key level and find a sell setup from there instead. Okay? So you find your entries in M5 and M15. Again, for especially newbies and beginners, please set your SL at 40 pips from your entry. Okay, this will help manage your losses unless you know where you're gonna manually cut your trades. If it breaks which zone to which zone, or you have already set the maximum money that you're gonna put into this trade, and if it reaches that, you're gonna close manually. If you want to do that and you know how you're going to close it or exit the trades, then go ahead. Okay, but if not and you do not have the time to monitor the charts after entering, just set it at 40 pips from your entry to give it a bit of space to move. All right, so this completely depends on how sharp you can get your entry. But 40 pips is a good kind of pips, a number of pips that will not be too tight or too loose. Okay, last but not least, AUD/USD. Okay, AUD/USD has a sell zone up top, a buy zone down below, and I want you to monitor here. Okay, this is our potential sell zone. Why is it a sell zone? An engulfing sell, second engulfing sell, and we also have this. Okay, so it's respecting. So we have a sell meets a sell. current price if it already tapped into our key level over here. So you can see it go through. And if I were to go into a smaller time frame, M15 just decided to create this by the key level. Okay, by the key level, which is a sell meets a sell. So you can enter over here. I'm not gonna trade anything yet because I do not have the time to monitor my chart since I have other things that I need to go to, but I will check back in during the US session, okay? But if you want to enter from here, make sure it does not break above our M15 zone, right? To make it even sharper, check M5, and you already have M5, engulfing sell meets and engulfing sell over here. Okay, if you want to go for continuations, then at least it has to create an engulfing buy that failed when the price goes lower and lower. After creating the fail, you wait for the price to retest those zones, close within, and create an engulfing sell before you enter, and that's how you layer it. Okay, that's how you layer it. But I'm gonna monitor this for my US session if it decides to retest it again. Okay, if not, I'm just gonna let it be, but I'm giving you this. All right, so going back to H4, we're gonna monitor over here. All right, if H4 decides to still respect our zone and create an engulfing sell, then it will strengthen our sell zone even more, right? So we can do this, or we also wait for the price. If you cannot catch it, we wait for the price to come into our buy zone before pressing anything. Okay, if H4 decides to shoot up and break our zone over here, then we have another sell zone up top, which is an EFEG sell. Okay, if it breaks like this. Now, where do you TP? If you have entered over here, either you take it 10, 20, 30 pips where you usually close your trades just to build, what is it called? Build tolerance to the market and slowly build your confidence to it. So you can do that, or if you're like me, I like to trade from zone to zone, meaning I will TP at the next zone. So you have two options, either TP before the next zones or you TP before the next key level, right? So I like to take TP at the key level because I know that it's going to use the key level to either continue or reverse, right? It needs to pick up the volume and the orders over here where a lot of traders using different strategies are. Okay, so I like to do that. But if not, you can also just TP right before the next zone, right? It's even lower risk to do that. Okay, so that's it for the 3 pairs. Please trade smart, trade wise. And if you have anything, just message me. If you want to let me check your mappings also, just message me. Okay, have a good day, and I shall talk to you soon. Bye.